The desert holds its breath. A stillness lies over the cracked red earth, broken only by the whisper of wind through sagebrush. A shadow moves, small, slow, unremarkable at first glance. It freezes. Something unseen has noticed it. A predator? A threat? And then it happens. The creature shuts its eyes tight, its body tenses, and from the corners of its closed lids, something jets outward. Sharp, red, fast. Blood, pressurized, directed, not from a wound, not from pain. It chose this. A crimson arc splashes toward the unseen attacker. Not randomly, aimed, not leaking, fired. And then it's over. The desert goes quiet again. The attacker, stunned. The reptile still alive, as if nothing had happened. But something has. And it defies everything we thought we understood about how animals defend themselves. Because this is a weapon built from fear itself, and it's hidden in the eyes. For centuries, the deserts of the American Southwest have shaped creatures in brutal, elegant ways. The heat strips away excess. The predators hunt with ruthless clarity. And survival here is never a given. It's earned inch by inch, drop by drop. Among these survivors is a small, spiky reptile, flat-bodied, slow-moving, with camouflage that mimics the dust it walks on. It doesn't look threatening. In fact, it barely moves. It prefers stillness, watching, waiting. Its claws aren't long, its teeth unremarkable. When pursued, it can't outrun danger. It doesn't outclimb, outfly, or outfight. And yet, it survives. The lizard has armor, rows of horn-like scales jutting from its head, its back, its tail. A medieval design in a modern battle for life. When danger approaches, it flattens itself, widens its silhouette, and becomes unpalatable. Less prey, more rock. But predators adapt. Coyotes, hawks, snakes. They've learned to flip it over, to strike from angles its armor can't protect. So evolution made a gamble. It gave the lizard something else, not strength, not speed, something stranger. Inside the animal's skull, behind its eyes, lies a cluster of muscles with a single, unsettling job: build pressure. Blood, usually flowing inward toward the heart, is rerouted, held, compressed, until the vessel behind the eye can take no more. Then, rupture. Blood doesn't drip, it explodes, through the tear duct, outward, in a precise stream, into the face of the threat. And that stream isn't harmless. Scientists discovered that the blood fired from this lizard's eyes contains a compound that tastes bitter, particularly to canine predators. In tests, coyotes who had bitten a horned lizard once would avoid them forever after. Not because they lost, because they remembered. But a memory is just the surface. Beneath it lies the core question. How does an animal learn to weaponize its own body in such a grotesque, deliberate way? And why? From the eyes. What makes this behavior so confounding isn't just its rarity, it's the precision. Most animal defenses are passive. Camouflage, hard shells, venom delivered when bitten or stung. This lizard, however, stores potential energy and then chooses when to detonate. It waits until the last moment, when escape is no longer possible, before initiating the blood burst. In some cases, it closes its eyes before the stream. Others, it narrows its head, aligning the eye duct with the attacker's direction. Some lizards can fire up to 4 feet, a projectile, from an organ not designed to shoot anything. There's no other known vertebrate that does this. None. And here's the deeper paradox. The blood loss is real, significant. In repeated encounters, it weakens the lizard, makes it vulnerable to dehydration, infection, and disorientation. This is a defense of desperation, a last resort, a literal self-wounding for survival. But it works. Over and over again, predators recoil, confused, startled, momentarily blind. And in that flicker of hesitation, the lizard escapes. But how did such a bizarre mechanism evolve? And why has no other animal followed this path? Several hypotheses circle the phenomenon, none definitive. One suggests the behavior emerged as an extension of ocular protection, that muscles behind the eye, originally used to regulate pressure or movement, were co-opted under stress. A biological accident, repeated over generations, until it became deliberate. Another theory focuses on chemical defense. The blood's bitterness hints at evolved toxicity, one that, unlike venom or skin secretions, needed a delivery method. The eyes, already vascular and exposed, became an outlet of opportunity. Then there's the predator memory model. That evolution didn't just want to repel a single attacker, but to embed a trauma, a taste, a learning event that radiates through a predator population. One lizard bleeding once, saving thousands of future kin. Still, no consensus, no fossil record of transitional forms, no genetic pathway clearly mapped. The mechanism exists, it works, but its origin remains shrouded, as if evolution hid the blueprint and left only the result. There's something deeply unsettling about an animal that fires blood from its eyes. Not because it's grotesque, but because it's intentional. It suggests a level of bodily control we rarely associate with reptiles. It blurs the line between reflex and choice, and it confronts us with a question more primal than we're used to asking. What would you sacrifice in the moment of threat to survive? The horned lizard sacrifices its own lifeblood, not for dominance, not for territory, but for one thing alone, the chance to remain alive. In the red dust of its homeland, that's enough. But still, we watch. We wonder. Why the eyes? Why blood? And how many other defenses in nature have gone unnoticed? Simply because they seem too impossible to believe.